Hello and welcome to the TES Secondary Maths Resource of the Week number 17 with me, Craig Barton. Now, if you were to ask the average year 10 and 11 student what one of the trickiest topics is at GCSE, they're probably going to mention circle theorems up there. There just seems to be something about it, and I think it's possibly a combination of the fact that there's quite a few of the circle theorems to remember, and also that in the exam questions that students are given, they're often quite tricky to spot, and I do sympathise with the students on this one. But I'll tell you what, if you really want to get a deep understanding, I hope your students to have a deep understanding of them, then there are a few better ways of doing it than actually getting the students to discover the circle theorems themselves using dynamic geometry. And this is exactly what Interactive Maths, otherwise known as Dan Clark, has done here. And it's an absolutely wonderful collection of resources. You've got worksheets, you've got a PowerPoint, and you've got a link to a website. So let me show you what's going on here. If I crack open the angle at the centre one, what you've got here is a step-by-step guide for how to construct this particular circle theorem using the software Autograph. Now, many schools will have Autograph installed on their system, and I often find that it's relatively underused because it's perceived as being quite difficult to access, but it really isn't. And with something like this kind of step-by-step instructions, the students can construct these circle theorems in no time, and then there's space at the bottom for students to write in their own words what relationship they've found. But if you're watching this thinking, well, wait a minute, this is useless to me because I don't have Autograph, well, fear not. Because what Dan Clark has very kindly done is on his website, he's built some of these Autograph files and embedded them in there using the Autograph player, and you don't actually need Autograph installed to use them. So if I look here, this is on his website, and there's a link to this on the resource page, then here you've got, already constructed for the students, a file where they can play around and see if they can discover the angle at the centre theorem themselves. So it's absolutely tailor-made, ready for them to play around with, and he's done one of these for each of the circle theorems. So in an ideal world, the students would construct them for themselves, but if you don't have Autograph or you perhaps push for time, then at least they can play around with those interactive files and discover them. And then he's also provided, I should say that there's one of those step-by-step worksheets for each of the circle theorems, and then there's also a record sheet, and I really like this. So to save the students time in having to draw them out and trying to kind of get their own notes sorted, this is much better. Here's a diagram, here's the name of the theorem, and then in their own words can the students summarise what that theorem says. And what a lovely collection of notes that would be for the students when they finish looking at circle theorems. And then if all that wasn't enough, Dan's also popped on one of my favourite teaching techniques, a collective memory activity. And I'm envisaging this being used after the students have spent perhaps a couple of lessons discovering and writing up the circle theorems. Then here we go, here's a collective memory just to check what the students have remembered, and then that should then tee them up to take on some of those nasty exam questions. And I would hope after all that their depth of understanding would certainly be a lot better than it would have been doing it any other way. So there you go, Discovering Circle Theorems by Interactive Maths, a wonderful collection of resources that should box off all your circle theorem needs. And I'll be back with a fresh resource of the week next week. Take care and bye for now.